So we have smart weapons that can shred enemies to pieces, sniper rifles that can deal AoE shock damage, and many more amazing new iconic weapons in Phantom Liberty. A lot of these can easily be missed, so today I'm going to show you some of the best that you can get quite early in the expansion, but also a few from later on. A few slight spoiler warnings here and there because we're gonna talk about some of the side missions and gigs, as well as some of the choices that will get you these guns. But let's get started with this amazing tech submachine gun called the RAIJU. This has an amazing rate of fire, very good accuracy, and you can easily aim for the headshots from very far away. So you get this from one of these increased criminal activities right here on this side of the map, very close to the nearby Kraz Street waypoint. So here you will notice one of these enemy outposts. What you have to do is to make your way inside through this almost collapsed tunnel all the way in the base inside. Eventually you're going to find a mini boss that you will have to find so that you can grab the cash access card from his body. But this is now going to give you access to this really awesome cache of loot filled with legendary as well as the iconic RAIJU in the case right here in the middle. So this is slightly better than the Senko. In this case, I only have a plus version of the Senko, so you can see that the damage on that is a bit better since technically it's a tier above. But the RAIJU, if I were to get a plus version of that too, the damage would obviously be higher, and we still have the better handling and the extra crit damage. Plus, it can go full auto if you go in and charge it. But otherwise, it's an amazing weapon, still has crazy accuracy, it can take down enemies from very far away, the handling is just insane, and the rate of fire is excellent. So if you want to go with an SMG build like the one I covered before, this can be an amazing option instead of, for example, a Yinglong. You can totally do so. Now the next one is the iconic power revolver called the ROSCO, and you get this from one of Finger's side missions called Waiting for Dodger. So in this one you kind of have to head over to this side of the map as you progress a bit in the main story, but it's one of the first available, and you will have to infiltrate the NCPD in the area. Long story short, you're going to have to help a couple of characters inside, and eventually Dodger is going to make his way inside. So there are a couple of outcomes to this gig, but if you go ahead and become hostile towards Dodger, you can take him down and steal his ROSCO revolver. And I really like this one because it comes with some nice headshot damage, a ton of critical damage, armor penetration, but it comes with a unique synergy. So if you first shoot an enemy in the leg and then to the head, this will instantly neutralize that on the spot. So I tested this a bit, and the way it actually works is that it gives you a bonus damage to headshots if you first shoot that enemy in the foot. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much it is because enemies get instantly deleted if I use this combo, but it's around 50 to 100% give or take, because I tested this on the max stack and it doesn't instantly neutralize them like it says it does in the tooltip. Or if it does, it probably should be fixed because there might be a bug with it. But it does increase the damage from about like 400 or 500 to 7, 8, even like 1000. And I kind of always see a second damage component being added to it. So it might even exceed a little bit that 100%. But it is going to give you plenty enough damage to take down almost any enemy up until hard difficulty. The next one is a smart weapon called OGOU or OGOU. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that. It's not like completely missable, but you can definitely skip it if you don't do its side quest. So to do that, you need to infiltrate the Voodoo Boys base right here next to the stadium during the mission called Threatening Symptoms. So for this, you just have to progress through it up until you eventually reach this darker room. And there's going to be a fight over here that you have to win, in which you're going to get the pistol at the end. And I really like this one. So this is a smart weapon that comes with a bunch of headshot, critical damage, some nice bonuses to armor penetration. However, this fires bursts of explosive rounds, and if you hit enemies, you will get increased chances to dismember them. So as you do that over and over and hit enemies, you're going to get a stacking buff that will increase the critical chance as well as the chance to apply bleeding against those targets. So from my experience, it stacks up to 5 times, but the damage on this thing is absolutely insane. So you can even like destroy entire groups of enemies with it as you keep stacking that critical, and it's definitely noticeable. Plus, it's even great against max stack, which very few weapons are, especially with the build I'm playing with right now, does not have a single bonus to smart weapons. So I imagine if I did, it would have been even more crazy than that. Definitely one of the top tier weapons in the new expansion. But at number 4, we have an upgraded version of the KYUBI, the X Mod 2, which is completely missable if you don't keep an eye out for this very big pond in this center location, very close to the Golden Pacific Waypoint. So right next to these casinos, you're going to spot this pond, and if you jump inside of it and go all the way at the bottom, you're going to notice that below this hanging body, you're going to find the KYUBI right there. So compared to the regular KYUBI, this seems to have a slightly better headshot damage multiplier, some extra armor penetration. Plus, in this case, it does seem to be better if you compare this with the Plus version. The Plus that I have obviously is slightly better since it's a tier above, but if I were to get the X Mod 2 Plus as well, it would obviously exceed the KYUBI by quite a bit. So yeah, a really solid gun that has a lot of damage. It comes with some nice accuracy, a ton of mod slots, so you can add scopes, muzzles, and other mods to it and take down enemies in style. At number 4, we have a very interesting new sniper rifle called the SPARKY, and you actually get this from another increased criminal activity, this time around right here towards the end section of Dogtown. So in this location, you're going to find this mall that's kind of been occupied by the scavs. Again, you're going to have to take down the enemies and also their leader so that you can get access to the cache. You're going to access it right here from the right side via this locked door initially. So once you open that door, you're going to find a bunch of loot. Spine Tickler, also one of them, a very good tech mod that can cause EMP blasts when you shoot at enemies. But otherwise, you can also get the SPARKY right here from this opened container at the top. And I really like this weapon because it comes with one of the highest headshot damage multipliers, a ton of armor penetration, but also shock damage. So when you hit enemies in the head, you're going to notice additional sparks jumping to any nearby targets in a pretty decent AoE. So this is best suited if you're fighting against groups of enemies. Some of them are behind cover, while others may be exposed. If you hit one in the head, you're going to notice these sparks of electricity shocking the others nearby. So it's really good. It's not going to transfer the full damage from the initial target, but it is going to be plenty enough to leave them by a thread. So maybe a second shot to a second enemy could take it, as well as the remaining targets at the same time. Plus, it looks really awesome. It comes with some mods automatically installed on it. However, I'm not sure if there's a version of this that can support additional mod slots, so you might have to find a better version if that exists. At number 6, the next weapon is the CARMEN assault rifle. So you actually get this from an otherwise skippable mission. This only popped up for me if I went in this Barghest camp right here towards the middle of Dogtown. You're going to find these two NPCs right here, including Paco, who are going to ask you for some help. So the cool thing about this is that you can help them in different ways depending who you ask for help. I only tested a couple of outcomes, but it doesn't seem to matter which one you pick. In both of these situations, you're going to get the CARMEN at the end. So you will have to wait like 24 hours once you give them help, and they're going to leave behind this chest with CARMEN inside of it. So this is a pretty interesting kind of SMG, another one that also applies bleeding to targets. In this case, it comes with some pretty nice chances when running, jumping, or sliding to also increase the damage and bleeding against those targets. So it's a really good one if you're kind of playing hectic, moving all over the place, and you don't really care about accuracy. This is going to maintain most of its accuracy as you keep jumping around. So it's pretty nice as the reticle doesn't increase by too much. At number 7, we have yet another gig-related missable iconic weapon, this time around called the CHEETAH Power Pistol. So this is something that you can get from the mission called No Easy Way Out. In this one, you're going to have to talk to a boxer and kind of help him out with his whole situation. This is again going to infiltrate you a certain base/clinic that the animals run, but yeah, you also want to reach this Ripper Dock at the top. So once you give help to Aaron, eventually you're going to notice a bunch of animals as well as Angle making their way inside. and I definitely recommend the non-friendly outcome, in which you take down Angle and basically steal her gun. This is going to give you access to a pistol that easily applies bleeding to enemies, so it's one of the few that actually does that, and it does it very reliably. So the closer you are to the target, the greater the chances for bleeding to be applied, plus the higher the crit is going to be. Definitely a good option if you combine this maybe with a melee kind of build. It totally works, so it's a really nice one to have. There's also another one you get from Shot by Both Sides, another side mission right here. That's going to bring you a little bit in Night City. So this one is a little bit longer because you're going to have to find some clues in a certain person's apartment and then eventually make your way back in Dogtown and help that person to infiltrate a former Militech, base slash secret point. But during it, if you just do one of the outcomes that is less friendly, you're going to get OL'RELIABLE, which is another power revolver, actually one of the best in terms of the headshot damage multiplier and the crit damage. So the thing about this is that the further away you are from the target, the higher the headshot damage is going to be. So this can be a pretty significant chunk of damage that you might be getting, maybe jumping from like 500-600 damage to like 700-800 if you just stay further away. Plus, it comes with some pretty solid effective range, so you're not going to like get any penalties, especially if you also go with perks that remove any long range penalties. But it's nonetheless a nice pistol to have, so it is going to work wonders. And before we finish off, we have one more missable iconic, which is the CRIMESTOPPER. Now this is hard to miss, but still missable if you don't keep an eye out to the briefcase that contains it. So you get this from the mission called Heaviest Hearts that you have to start right here beneath the needle by talking to Michael in like the slot machine area. So this is going to bring you to the Heavy Hearts Club, the pyramid, in which you're going to have to infiltrate in the VIP lounge. So once you infiltrate the VIP area, you will need to head over to booth number 6, and on the side right here you're going to find the CRIMESTOPPER inside this briefcase with a bunch of other legendary items. But I really like this one because it almost acts a bit like cyber malfunction. So as you shoot enemies in their cyber limbs, this is going to immobilize that enemy and increase the critical damage against them, and even disable that cyber limb entirely. So it's a very good option to have if you're fighting maybe the Max Stack or Cyber Psychos. It totally works just nice, plus the damage is not too shabby. And that is pretty much it with most of the missable guns. Of course, there are still many left, but we're gonna cover those and the strongest ones in future videos. Maybe even create some builds around them because there are some really strong options. And this doesn't even begin to cover so many of the iconic and unique weapons you can get from the main story. So if you want to see more of those as well, definitely make sure to subscribe, activate the notification bell, and leave a like on this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one.